Okay, so this is for making a simple beat. Not gonna make this super complex. Make it easy. It's an empty project. MPC shift menu. You got expansions, or sometimes you can, add individual sounds. For the sake of time purposes, I am going to go to drums, or expansions rather. I tend to use more live sounding drums, so I use a Pro Kit. Let me see if I can turn this up. One of the things I love about it is that it lets you audition. So you kind of get an idea of what the kit sounds like. That doesn't mean you're going to sound like that, though. I know, believe me, you'll see. I know I don't sound that good. But anyway, so here you go. So let's just pick finger drumming or finger, whatever. We'll load the kit. Takes a second to load all the parts. Done. Hit menu, or main rather, I'm sorry. Go back to your main screen. So now you see you have a drum kit down here. Here's your track and here's a sequence. Sequence is like let's say if I wanted to label my sequence the chorus, or think of it that way, right? Like chorus or hook or verse or something of that nature. BPM, you can tap in the BPM if you want to. Most devices have a tap tempo. If they don't, then you just, in my case, I'm going to tap it and I'll just set it at like 85. It's fine, do it. 4 bars. I'm going to leave it at 4 because we're going to make this short. It starts at 1, ends at 4. Pretty simple. Come down to your track. We're on a drum track or MIDI track. This is for your drums. This is like a plug-in built into the MPC. And this is if you have like a key group program. I'm not going to go that deep. We're going to stay on this first column. All right. Simply put, here's all your drums. They have them kind of colored. So you can see this is all snares, rim shots, hats, crash, rides, and etc. And these are toms. Kicks are in red. Pretty simple layout. All right. All you got to do is hit record and play. But I like a metronome, so I'm going to turn that on. Boom. Metronome is right there. This is if you wanted to quantize, right? You can set it for swing. On the initial one, I'm going to say, I'm going to leave it on a 16th. That's fine with me for right now, just so I can not make too many mistakes. So I usually kind of figure out what I'm going to do here because I'm really doing this on the fly. So a lot of times I'll start with the kick and the snare. But once the tempo is picked, just hit record and play, right? Count you in. Now you'll see it overdubs, so it just starts over. So you can add to it if you want to, but if you start recording, or if you hit, let's say you hit stop and you hit record again and you're on the same track in the MPC, you can see the notes here. It'll literally record over what you have. So what you have to remember is use overdub. If you're gonna stay on the same track, just do overdub. And I'll show you, I do mine a little different. Some people will do it all on one track and explode the tracks. There's so many ways to do it. I'm not gonna get into that. It'll take forever. All right, so there's a simple beat, and you'll see that it's right there. This line here represents that, and you'll see how it moved down to that line. All right, simple as that. Let's do let's go ahead and just lay the hats on top of that. So one thing I like to do is have 3 to 4 hats. On here, you could do levels, right? Which is a cool way to do your hats. And that's how I'm going to do it for right now. I'm going to do levels. But you don't have to technically. No, I'm not going to do levels. You could just, because it has the velocity built into it. But if you don't have that, that's a little different, right? But I'm going to just do it regular because then I don't want to confuse you. Over dub, hit play at the same time. Up, hit shift, stop, because you got to move your cursor back to the beginning. So everything shift, stop to move back to the beginning. Overdub, play. 2, 3, 4. I'm going to hit stop. So you see I have some errors in there. I kind of want to do that over. So let's just do it over. Shift, stop, go back to the beginning. All right. And I'm going to hit shift or record, play again, or overdub play. So I don't always want to record over. Sometimes I'll see like there's a mistake. I hit the little button there. I highlight just that note and then I hit velocity and I'll turn the velocity up because it's just a, like, it doesn't matter. I'm just putting it random. All right, then I'll do the same for this one. I want to get rid of that note. I just hit cut. It's gone. Same up here. Hit shift cut. This looks like a double, but I'm going to leave it because that's a kick. I don't want to mess with that. Everything else is pretty good. There's one right there that's off. But see how this is where I use this pencil because sometimes this mess can be so tiny in my fingers. So I notice this one right there. So I'll use the pencil, turned it on so I can zoom in, highlight that note, shift cut, done. All right. Now this was not really how I do this all the time. Most of the time I'm going to turn off the, I'm going to turn the autocorrect off because I don't want it on. I prefer to drum it without, and then if I make mistakes, I like those mistakes a lot of times. Okay, so there you have it. So now shift stop to go back. Let's zoom out a little bit and play it. Okay, I've heard enough. Shift stop, TC, I'm keeping that off. So there's different ways you can highlight just certain notes and swing them if you want. One of the things I like to do, and especially on the MPC, it makes it even easier. But I did this in Koala too, is I use the nudge button. I'll take the snap off. I don't want it to snap because I'm just nudging it a little bit over just to give it a little swing. So I'll just turn it a couple of times. That's it. Rotate there. Do the same for this one. Rotate a little bit like that. And now it'll swing a little bit. See? So it doesn't sound so perfect, you know? And then if you want the same thing, there's features in here. I'm not going to get into this because we're just making a beat, simple beat. Right here, you go into the pencil and you can humanize it and change it up, do it that way. And sometimes I'll be honest, I use it, but a lot of times I might use that on like a keyboard or something if I'm doing keys in here. But for drums, I'm not really going to. I'll do it by hand. I don't know why I do that, but I do it. Anywho, so there you go. Now, let's say you want to move this stuff. To put it on different tracks, you can explode it. That's the easier way to do it. I'm not going to show you that. I'm going to do it without. Do it the old-fashioned way just because. So what I'll do is I'll shift. I'll touch this little track. It'll highlight everything. Then I'll go shift, and I'll go. And I should have done this before I put the swing on it, by the way. But for right now, I'm just going to show you. Shift cut, right? And then I'm going back over here, and I want to go to track 2. I'm going to put it on 3. And the only reason is because, hope I'm not confusing you more. Because track 3, see, I did shift stop to bring it back to the beginning. And then because that's the first hi-hat that plays, I'm going to go now shift paste. There they are. So then I'm going to go back to track 1. I'm going to grab the bottom hi-hats. These sit on the halves, right? So I'm going to go shift, cut, go back to track 3. And then I'm going to take my pencil and move the cursor to about halfway. And then I'm going to go shift paste. There they are. So I have my hats now on 1. I'm going to do the same thing for the snares. I'm going to go here, shift cut. I'm moving a little quicker now. This is going to go, they go right here on the 2. Turn the snap on, please. Oops, did I just do that? Don't do that. I'm on track 2. This is usually not that bad. Hold on a second, maybe because I need to do that. Wow, you're just going to be that kind of way today, huh? All right, sorry about that. And there you go. I put it on the 2, and then now I know they fall there. Now, if I explode this is way easier. You don't have to do it. But not everybody has an MPC, so if they can't explode, I get it. I'm a big fan of naming the track. So name the track. This is going to be hats. You can put clothes if you want. This is going to be kicks. I'm just doing this for a demo purpose. Okay, kicks, boom, there you go. Now, shift. It's not going to have the swing because I actually moved the hats. So I would have to go back in and redo what I did. So we're going to go, again, nudge, don't snap. Just shift them a little bit that way. Same thing down here, just a little bit that way. Okay, sounds good. Shift stop. Play from the start if you just want to. If you don't want to shift stop. I just like getting used to shift stop because, or at least on here, because that's how it goes back to the beginning. But here you go. Just to hear it again one more time. So for those that don't really know drumming, maybe very, very beginning, just starting out, I tend to, this is my thoughts on thinking of it. A real drummer may tell you different. But my snares go on the 2 and the 4, generally speaking, on most tracks, right? Kicks 1 and 3. And then you can, and of course you can have ghost notes and vary in between all that. But if you think about it, it's just 1 for the kick, 2 for the snare, 3 for the kick, 4 for the snare, right? Hats are going to be varied because it depends on the tempo and how you feel about them, what you want to do. There's so many little nuances, but that's just kind of your basics to get you going. So now you got a beat. And let's say you want to put, I'm going to do one more thing. Let's say you want to put some piano to it. Well, that is a little bit deeper than what. Let's just load in a piano real quick. And I'll just do something simple. As simple as possible, that is. All right. So here we are on the track. We have the piano. This, I'm going to put this in chromatic. There we go. So chromatic is how you would imagine it generally. So you have C, C sharp, D, D sharp, like on a piano, right? Because I'm going to play it on here. If you had a real piano, you would be playing the notes. But let's see. All right, so let's just play that simple little whatever. All right, we're back at the beginning, shift stop. We're on a new track now. This is for the chords. So I'm going to hit. Now, when you're on a new track and there's nothing on it, you can hit record play, right? Highly suggest when you're recording chords, bass, any of that stuff, take the quantization off. It sounds so much better than playing robotic chords where it feels like everything is perfectly on. I would say do it with the drums too, but maybe when you're starting out, you might do your kick and the snare maybe together on quantization, with quantization on, just till you get used to it. But eventually, I would say maybe just do the snare on with the quantization. If you need something on it, do it with the snare. But everything is following the tick, right? The tick of the metronome hitting, so you stay on beat. And I just made this up really quick. I really didn't plan this, but somebody had mentioned they wanted to see how to make a beat. So I'm just doing something really simple. This isn't like a hip hop beat or anything like that. It's just a really basic, generic sounding beat to me. But anywho, all right, that's it. I've been on here for almost 15 minutes. Time to get off. Just wanted to show you that. And you don't have to be on the MPC. You can do this on the computer. You can do it. You can draw the notes in. I don't per se like to draw the notes in, but if that's all you got, if you're on Koala, you can do it on Koala the same way and draw the notes in. I will say on Koala, if you're going to use it and you don't have a MPC, or you don't have a velocity sensitive pads, like I usually use, sometimes you'll see me use the off-grid that have the pads that can trigger that. And of course, the velocity sensitivity has to be built into the program. We know that. Somebody said that and I was like, Yeah, we kind of know. Has to be, the option has to be there for you to be able to do it. But anywho, that's all I want to show you. Now I'm over 15 minutes, so I'm going to get off. And yeah, just practice making tracks, and eventually you'll get your skill levels up. And we're all still practicing, so don't worry.